Hello and welcome to the Indie Incursion Podcast, your weekly podcast all about indie games. I am the ghost formerly known as Vaughn Hyde, and today we're going to kind of do a special episode. And of course, I'm joined by Josh. How you doing today, Josh?
I'm doing pretty good. I like how you're still sticking with the Ghost name, even in 2019, going strong.
Yeah, it's gonna happen until they put out a physical edition of Hollow Knight.
Ah,
I'm being very serious about this.
you know what? I wouldn't have even remembered that. That's how good my memory is. I,
I hope eventually, like, it would be really cool if Team Cherry, just anybody from the Hollow Knight development team, were a fan of ours, which will never happen. But if
oh
they
man,
did, it would get so annoying to the point where they would eventually have to.
I would love that, especially if we did that. I love Hollow Knight. Such a good game.
Yeah, me too. Me too. That actually is a good thing to get into right now because what we're going to be doing today is doing our top 10 game of the year ish candidates. This is just mine and Josh's personal choices. It doesn't reflect what Parallax Media is going to do for their game of the year. It's just kind of our fun picks, what we think is our game of the year. But of course, we have a tiny bit of news to get into. We got to talk about a shitty game on Kickstarter and an interesting one. And then we'll get into our game of the year stuff. But first, what have you been playing this week, Josh?
Sure. So, and also just as
Sure.
yeah, just as a heads up for everyone who is listening, Parallax will have a Game of the Year award as well as other awards for 2018 that will come out a little bit later. I'm not too sure exactly when we set a date for that, but that should be heading out. So keep your eyes peeled. As far as what I've been playing, I have over the break spent a ton of time on things that aren't very indie. Super Smash Brothers. I
Turd.
can't get enough of it. A lot of people bitch about that World of Light mode, but I actually enjoy it. I like it because for me, really the only time I've ever enjoyed Super Smash is with a bunch of people, and I'm pretty garbage at it, so I like it when it's like very chaotic. But the World of Light mode adds like that same level of chaoticness, but in short bursts, and adding the spirit board mode of having you play against just various characters with certain perks, like having them like my favorite one is the Snorlax one. To fight against Snorlax, you have to basically get his spirit. You're fighting King K. Rool because there's not a Snorlax character, and he's just this big fat King K. Rool, so fatter than usual, and he has like 500 HP, and the whole point of it is literally just to beat him up quick enough before the timer runs out. He doesn't do anything. He literally just sits there.
You just beat the shit out of him?
Yeah, and you just have to beat it
That's
before
awesome.
the time runs out, which I almost didn't
Yeah,
make.
it seems like however much there's like two camps on this. Either World of Light is really good or it's garbage. There's no like in between. People like really hate it or they really like it. It's a little odd.
I mean, I get it though, because like at the same time, I'm very early on into it, and one of the big things is just that it drags on forever. So, maybe next week or the week after I'll have a different opinion. But for now, I'm enjoying it.
Yeah, I enjoy the creativity of it. Like how you said Snorlax isn't a character, so they make it King K. Rule and then he's just fat. Like
Yeah,
I really enjoy that, and I've heard they do that with a lot of different characters. Like Dr. Wily is just Mega Man, but different versions of Mega Man that do different things.
yeah.
I thought that was really cool.
Yeah, it's really interesting. There's another one where it's like I forget what exactly the spirit was, but it's like someone in a race car, and instead it's just like a ton of Squirtles using their one move where they rush across the map over and over again. Oh, very annoying, but also very
That's
unique and
awesome.
cool. um, but other than that, the other one that I've been playing a lot is one that I just picked up. It's called Deep Sky Derelict. And the best way to describe it, if you don't know, is basically think of Darkest Dungeon, but in space. So
Mm.
it's really good actually because it's like Darkest Dungeon, but not as unforgiving. There's still the same RNG and there's still the same like a lot of terrible things that happen to like your crew while you're going through. But it's basically you're on these different ships and you're trying to find the mothership, and you have to basically go through and explore each ship that you're coming to, but you have to balance using what's known as energy, your reserves. So everything you do, going to a different area, scanning the area to see what's in the different rooms next to you, fighting things, breaking barriers, everything you do costs energy. So it's balancing all of that into how do I get through the area and still have enough to get back or face any enemies that come up. And the cool thing that they do with actual fighting style is it's for some reason a card game in the midst of it. So every weapon or every mod or every time you level up, you'll have different perks that will add or remove certain cards to your deck, which will be things like, a basic attack or attacks that slow people, putting more shield to different characters, or doing what's known as inspiring them to make them have like a second attack that turn. So there's a lot of unique elements to it of not picking the really strong weapon because it might have terrible cards with it. So you have to kind of go through and pick your build, so to speak, while going through this. So it's a lot of elements all at once. And one of the things that I will ding the game for is they don't really explain a lot. At least for a lot of the different elements throughout the game, so it is kind of trial and error. But other than that, it does have, once you get past that initial hour or 2 hours, it's very fun, and I've been pretty addicted to it lately.
It's kind of weird. That seems like a motif in games recently, is that it's like everyone is so worried about like critics saying that the game just holds your hand too much, and like how everyone is super annoyed with like extensive tutorials and stuff like that, that it seems like games have like overcorrected, and they're like, now we're just going to be so ambiguous, just so ridiculously like nonsensical,
Yeah.
that there's no way you're just going to pick it up and know how to play like you would any like standard first person shooter or 2D platformer.
Yeah, and the game does a good job of explaining some things, but it's like very basic, and then once you get into it, you're still very confused, like especially with the cards and what all of them do. Like half the time you have to actually use them in battle before you can read what those like effects have. So it's kind of annoying because you're like, okay, well, I don't know if I want to change my weapon yet, because what if this card is actually really bad? I don't know what this effect does.
Yeah, but that's also kind of a cool, like, added layer of, in a way, I'm going to just put this in air quotes, realism, because, like, let's say you pick up a gun, and, like, how Prey, the game has all sorts of weird, like, sci-fi-esque guns, you don't necessarily know what the gun does until you, like, shoot it.
Right.
So that's kind of interesting. That would be super annoying, and I would hate that, but that's very interesting.
Yeah.
And when you said it's, like, similar to Darkest Dungeon, it's like the art style is almost exactly like Darkest Dungeon. Like they both went for the comic book aesthetic.
Yeah.
And that's really, really cool.
Yeah, I really like it because like every time you're in battle and you go to attack or like fight things or they attack you, it basically changes from you being in that position from like, very similar to Darkest Dungeon of just standing there flat, to basically a comic book strip showing you getting attacked by that person or you attacking them.
I will say I enjoy like looking at this game versus Darkest Dungeon. I enjoy the way that it seems like combat is laid out versus Darkest Dungeon. Because in Darkest Dungeon you're like in the line, and I don't know why, but that always kind of bothered me. I just didn't like the way it looked.
Oh, yeah.
Versus this looks like a traditional like turn-based combat where you're in a line but vertically instead of horizontally.
Always you with those small details.
Right? There's always something that annoys me about video games, and it just happens to be fucking lines, I guess.
Something like that. But yeah, that's pretty much what I've been playing. I think overall it's a really good, solid game, though.
Nice, nice. Yeah, I personally have been playing. I played a lot of Hollow Knight. Yeah, I got it on the Switch a while ago. I talked about it on the podcast with my annoying like Best Buy experience, and I was finally just like, dude, I need to play this fucking game. Like I played some Red Dead 2 online for a while, which I will get into later. But it just like it just kept coming back to Hollow Knight and really, really enjoying its gameplay. So that's pretty much what I played throughout the entirety of the break and everything. That and watching like Hollow Knight lore videos, because it's it's one of those games that's like it's not ambiguous in a gameplay perspective, but it's super ambiguous and just doesn't make any, like, not necessarily doesn't make any sense, but you the player have to go out of your way to find the story in the game,
Yeah.
similar to the Souls like games and stuff like that,
Hmm.
which I really enjoy because it makes you feel like you're actually like interacting with the world versus it just like cramming exposition down your throat.
Yeah.
So
I also like those
that's really
type of
nice.
games just because, especially when I'm playing games, it depends on what mood I'm in, but like those games are perfect for when I don't want a story because it's not going to force feed me anything. I'm just going to be able to play the game that I want to play. Or if I wanted to, I could be like, all right, I'm going to find out the story. I'm going to go and like, search every nook and cranny.
Yeah, it's very true. Yeah, if you just want kind of, I'm not going to say a chill experience, but if you just want
Oh,
to experience
well.
gameplay, because yeah, it's definitely not chill.
Yeah, no.
It's a pain in the ass. A lot. Like, I was actually kind of surprised. I went through several areas and I hadn't died like a single time. I went through 2 bosses, hadn't died. I was like, I feel really good about myself. And then just one, like, platforming puzzle killed me like 5 times.
Hmm.
It's just pissing me off.
Yeah, as you get further and further, some of those bosses get really annoying. Especially if you get to I don't know if you're at the part where it's like the arena, where you like just have to fight endless waves.
No, but an NPC just, like, challenged me to go challenge him in the arena.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, he just like told me about the arena, so I was like, oh sweet, I'll have to go do that. But yeah, I've heard it's a pain in the ass.
Yeah, it takes a while.
But yeah, that's pretty much all I've been playing this week. Now I think it's time for us to move in to the news story that we have for this week. So we just have the one news story for this week, because we really wanted this episode to be more about our games of the year, get into talk about the games we really enjoyed. So the news story that we are going to be popping over to is over on Polygon. This written by Allegra Frank. This is Celeste team cancels Skytorn, a Metroidvania years in the making. I was honestly really depressed when I saw this. Like, I mean, not really depressed. That's an exaggeration. I was just kind of sad when I saw this on Twitter. It's game designer Noel Berry, member of the team behind 2018 hit Celeste, has canceled one of his most anticipated projects. The Metroidvania-style game Skytorn it is no longer in development, Barry announced over the weekend. Having worked on the game for several years, we constantly struggled with what the game was. God, I'm so bad at reading sometimes. Just most of the time, really. Barry wrote in a post on Medium. To its core, it was a procedurally generated adventure game without permadeath, but the procedural elements always clashed with the Metroidvania themes, and I didn't know how to design around that. And that he kind of brings up something there that I had never thought about, being like just being a gamer who, if I'm being honest, I think all gamers kind of, not all, but definitely a large amount of gamers maybe want to make a video game someday, and me being one of them. I've never thought about having this ambitious goal of a game and actually having to, like, I don't know, design around my own ambitions,
Hmm.
because he talks about how it at its core is procedurally generated, but of course that definitely hurts the Metroidvania themes, because a large theme for Metroidvanias is backtracking.
Hmm.
But I will say, Chasm is procedurally generated Metroidvania, and it does it pretty well, but I'm assuming that Skytorn was probably on a much bigger scope, or at least, I don't know, maybe it was, maybe it wasn't. I really like Chasm. Don't talk shit about it, guys. It's a good game. I really like it. But it seems like it just kind of like broke down. They no longer wanted to work on it. And I think that's kind of just that's okay. It's kind of a thing that, like, I don't know. I feel like canceling games nowadays is like, I don't know. It's not necessarily a bad thing to do, but it's definitely like you're definitely like pushing the boundaries of what you can do, because you know somebody's going to get mad at you no matter what. So you saying, "Hey, we just kind of couldn't get this off the ground. We didn't know what we wanted to do. Like, it just wasn't working out." There's somebody that's going to be mad. And yeah, I feel like it's hard to cancel games nowadays, especially like I was really excited for a lot of games in 2018, 2017 that ended up getting canceled. Especially like I was I was really excited about like Scalebound and stuff, and that got canceled. It really sucked. I wasn't a dickhead about it, but
Not like
I don't
others
know.
out there.
That's just me. Yeah, there's definitely a lot of dickheads. Yeah, were you excited about Skytorn? Were you torn apart, as some might say?
But tish. Skytorn, I actually didn't know of. I'd never heard of it before this, which I was surprised at. But I'm a little upset watching the previews and some of the content around it because I think it would have been really cool. The Metroidvania style is definitely my thing. But I have the same kind of opinion as you do, especially if it wasn't working for them. I would hate for them to have to push this out and them see potentially the audience have a problem with it, or there'd be problems with the game dramatically that cause this to give them such a bad name, especially after creating something as like Celeste. So one of the bad things about obviously having such a big title is that now there's so much pressure on him and anyone else who is working on this, just because, well, that's what they expect now is, a game of the year contender. So there's a lot of pressure on
Yeah,
them.
people are expecting like Celeste out of. I think the team's called like Matt Makes Games or something.
Yeah, so basically with that you have to then think about, okay, what is your audience going to, react to with this game? And half of it is, especially for someone who's putting that much time into it. So if this is starting at 2012 and it's 2018, 2019 technically now, that's a long time for you to be pushing into a project. And if you don't have, the love or care to continue on, then it's probably best put to rest. It sucks, especially because it's so much time and money wasted. But if you're not happy with the end product, then it's going to show in what you're creating.
Yeah, that's definitely apparent with creative endeavors, especially because you just I don't know when, especially with creative stuff, you like if you don't want to do something, you tend to cut corners,
Exactly.
and yeah, you make choices that you wouldn't necessarily do initially. You'd be like, okay, we just have to get this out. What can we shave off to make it like not terrible, but it just really wouldn't have come out and been like an amazing game, which yeah, like you said, would have really been a detriment to the studio, especially coming off of like Towerfall was really good. People really enjoyed it. Then you put out Celeste, which is what some might call a banger. And then
I would.
you come over to Skytort and then you just kind of like half-ass it. Yeah, you definitely get way more backlash than you would just being like, "Hey, we don't want to make this game anymore. Sorry."
Like, well, that's it. Yeah, I don't know. I think it's probably for the best. It sucks though because it looks like it would have been a fun game, but sometimes these things happen.
Yeah, that's very true. Just sometimes those things happen, and sometimes other things happen, like dysentery.
It's true.
Yeah, dysentery is like a big deal nowadays. Or at least it was back in like the 1800s and such, where Oregon Trail was a thing. You know what I mean?
Good.
So now it's time to move over to God Bless the Crowd. This is where Josh goes into different crowdfunding sites. He finds some games he wants to talk about that are currently being crowdfunded. And basically, I just tear them apart. I just make fun of them for stupid shit. It's really fun. I like this segment. It's a good one.
It's great for me. All right, let's get in it.
So we've got two on the dock today. We've got the Courier Trail, and we've got the Cow Game. I definitely have some stuff to say about one. The Courier Trail, I honestly think looks really good. The only thing that I thought was really interesting about it was I thought you can only do Kickstarters for a month. Is that not a thing? I
No.
thought that was a thing.
I think there's, yeah, I'm not sure exactly why they have the 50 days to go still left. I think there are ways to have additional days for it. I'll have to look into that actual reason because I've seen that before and always been kind of confused. But I guess they just really liked the idea and they wanted to give them extra days. I don't know.
Yeah, maybe that makes sense. This game has already been funded. It asks for $800, and it already has 853 with 50 days left to go. So they're definitely going to be, I would assume, raking in some money if they did this well already. This is a very like it's got the low poly aesthetic, which is really nice. It definitely looks a lot like Oregon Trail. Not Oregon like Organ, but also kind of
An Oregon
like Oregon
Trail.
Trail. Yeah, did you ever play Oregon Trail? It was like a zombie survival game, but based in like the Oregon Trail aesthetic. So it's all about like
Uh,
you trying to survive in a zombie apocalypse, but like you'd get dysentery and you'd be like, this guy got shot, this guy turned. It was really weird.
oh no, I've never seen this. This looks interesting. I'll have to
Oh
check it
wow.
out.
Yeah, you definitely will. It's a decent game. The coolest part that I find about not Oregon Trail but Courier Trail is that you can get a sweet T-shirt for only $50, guys. That's
Oh
yeah,
man,
that's what I'm talking about. You get some art, the original soundtrack, and you get a T-shirt. Which I'm so surprised. There's
nobody.
100 left of these.
Nobody
Nobody
has
did it.
backed it
Yeah.
yet, but two people have backed the $100 one.
Yeah, I saw that. They really wanted to get their name in the credits as executive producer,
How official.
apparently. Yeah,
Yeah.
because that seems to be the only thing that changes.
Yep. That's it. They just want that title, I guess. They really believed in
That's
it.
cool. At least they're not making something in the game. That's. I honestly, they definitely did the right thing. Gave $100 to get a T-shirt.
I mean, they still
Good
have
job,
that
guys.
$1 pledge though.
I fucking hate that so much. Kickstarter supporter. They didn't. Oh, but here's the thing. They didn't do like our eternal gratitude. That's the thing that's really annoying.
Mm.
That's like it's kind of condescending because it's just like give me more than a fucking dollar, asshole. Like I'm not gonna give you anything more than my eternal gratitude when I can find that amount of money under my couch cushion. Come on, dude. Jeez.
I don't know. But it looks really interesting because it's, I mean, it's obviously not going to be a visually amazing game, but the way they've put it, it sounds like there's a lot to explore as far as replayability. They're saying thousands of possible experiences and that each event has multiple endings and then branch off of that. So it's good just because, I mean, if you're thinking realistically, if you like, Oregon Trail or that style of gameplay, um, all you have to do is give $5 for the pre-order and you get a copy of this, and uh, you know you could have hours of fun with being a carrier or whatever you're doing in this game.
Yeah. I just realized I may or may not have said courier.
you
Like
you did, but I was
I definitely thought I did. Yeah, it's carrier
carrier.
trail. Yeah, it says infinite replayability. Ooh.
I don't know how much that is true, but we'll see. Randomly generated.
I don't know.
Hmm,
Yeah, you could always like I don't know. In one you get dysentery, in the other you don't. If I'm being honest, the only old timey disease I know is dysentery.
I
Yeah,
know you said it
if you guys haven't
quite a
noticed
few
yet.
times. That and
Now I want to talk about the cow game, dude.
the cow game.
This
It's
game looks so fucking dumb.
dude, it's got $5,000 pledged though.
These guys are stupid. There's 20 backers, $5,000. These guys are asking for 45K, like over 45K. It's got 23 days to go, and I'm telling you right now, this is one of the dumbest games I've ever seen. Like, why did they need $45,000 to make this stupid game?
Uh,
I don't understand.
you know what's crazy is there's two backers who have given $1,600.
Those guys need to evaluate their life choices. Like I've paid for some stupid shit, but I have never given that amount of money for like a really dumb game.
So for those listening, the cow game is a cross-platform arcade adventure. Save the planet as a hero or as part of a team where the stakes are high in our amusing adventure where you call the shots. It's basically kind of looks like an old Flash game where it's a side-scroller shooter, and it I don't know how this could possibly be difficult. Um,
Yeah, I don't get it either. It looks like a game that would exist on neopets.com. Like
yeah,
it looks that dumb.
I don't know. You shoot ink and then you like eat people as the cow. It's very strange.
Yeah, I don't really understand it. And it's like the whole premise of the game is that cows are being mistreated on Earth. So cows from outer space are coming to save the cows on Earth.
I, I
What?
I do like how there's a Batman cow.
Yeah, I was gonna say more. Maybe that 45K is for the licensing to use a fucking Batman
I
skin,
know. I can't
because
believe
that is obviously Batman.
I can't believe they're asking for $45,000 for the game. I mean, it's a pretty big ask. I will say I love the trailer, although apparently you have other opinions on it.
It's so bad.
It's so bad it's good though.
I could totally understand that. I literally okay, so this trailer basically starts off with this cartoon cow like kind of just being appalled, and it's like okay, so it's like space station tells it, "Oh, cows are like being mistreated on Earth. You got to go save them and shit." And then it sees like pictures of farmers branding cows and like us using steak and drinking milk and stuff like that. And then this cow somehow makes like a call or something without asking to just this dude in an office about to eat a burger, who then chucks this obviously plastic burger onto the ground, and he's like, "I'll help you out." And then he goes to call this other guy and is like, he just sits there silently on the phone for, I swear, a good 10 seconds. It's forever. And then this other guy's like in a space station, and he's like, "Hey, could you help me get the cows to Earth? There's already fucking cows on Earth. What is happening? What is this fucking game?"
Perfection. So
I don't understand.
it's so good. So bad it's good. Yeah, I don't know. I don't think they're gonna make it. But I mean, who knows? Maybe people really want to save the cows, you know?
I'm gonna be honest. I don't want to speak ill of this, except for when I already did. But I truly hope. I just 45K is just way too much to ask for how dumb of a game this is. That's like the Oregon Trail asked for $800. And yeah, I understand the art aesthetics are completely different, but I imagine more work has gone into making sorry, not Oregon Trail, Carrier Trail. I imagine more like work and actual like thought and programming has gone into that than the amount of work that'll go into this cow game.
I don't know.
Because I don't understand how this could possibly take more than like $5. Not to mention the fact that, like, so they have the one trailer, which seemingly they spent their whole budget on, because the other two trailers have no sound. They're just like, it's completely quiet for some reason. I don't understand why. And it's just like gameplay, and it's just this fucking cow, like, slowly going across the screen from left to right, eating like Russians and shit like that. How?
Yeah, it's a good game. You should try it out.
Jesus. And they also did the $1 thing, which is really just, it's a sin if I've ever seen one.
Hey,
It's a sin.
they get a digital wallpaper pack.
Yeah, they do. That is very nice. I would rather be in the credits as a Kickstarter supporter than getting this stupid fucking cow on anything that I own, but no big deal. I'm definitely not salty about this game at all.
I'm so glad I put this in the list.
It's so dumb. I can't believe it exists.
I don't care about the audience. It's just to torture you.
I feel like that's what the majority of this podcast is like people getting back at me for like jabbing at them like candy corn and shit, and always making fun of you for saying banger and crap like that.
Hey man, this game's gonna be a banger, and you know it.
Apparently, dude, it's got a Valkyrie in it who's riding on a horse, but also using a fucking like a swordfish as a sword. That's some creativity for you right
How
there.
could you not like it?
But speaking of amazing games, I think it's about time we move into the meat of this episode, which is our Game of the Year discussions. Once again, these are our opinions. Yours are obviously going to be different because you are not me. You're not a ginger boy sitting in his kitchen. So
Not the last
yeah,
time I
I mean,
checked.
you might be actually.
That would surprise me very much so.
Yeah, that would surprise me too. Unless anybody from Team Cherry is listening and they're also a Ginger Boy. Hey, put Hollow Knight on physical. That'd be really cool. Thanks, guys.
That's true.
Thanks so much.
Vaughn's dying over here.
I
Literally.
really am. I'm already dead, so
Well, yeah.
they kind of missed the boat on that one. But I might just come back to life. But you know what? I actually forgot to ask you a question, and I kind of like to do that now.
God,
did you get anything?
Weird questions?
No. This isn't going to be a weird question. I thought about doing that, and I was like, no, I'm not going to do it this time. I wanted to just ask you what you got for Christmas. Anything cool? Anything noteworthy you want to talk about on the podcast other than like a dildo of some sort?
How'd you know?
I
got
I guessed.
$30 in Steam gift money, which bought me that Deep Sky Derelict. So that's pretty much what I got. As far as Christmas, no, I don't think I really got anything. What did I?
That's depressing.
I know. Well, because it's like it's mostly family stuff, so it's just like they're just like, here's a gift card, go do something. Because I'm too old for them to buy me a bunch of endless gifts, dude. And I don't know if maybe I'm just overthinking it, but when I'm thinking of like how much money my parents spent on like Christmas back in the day, God,
you feel like a piece of shit, don't you?
Yeah, they spent so much money. I was like thinking about it. I was like, God, they bought me so many games and like all kinds of stuff. I was like, how did they possibly have this much money? I think about when like this comes up and I'm like, oh, I gotta buy gifts for people, and I'm like, God, I'm so broke. I don't know. I can't do this.
Dude, right? You buy like 3 gifts, let alone the shitload that your parents bought you when you were a kid, and you're just like, I don't know how this is humanly possible. This is weird. I don't get it.
I have a buddy who his little brother, his parents are like buying him a whole bunch of stuff because he's still the little kid. He's like much older now, but the little kid got a whole arcade cabinet, like an old school, like it's got like Centipede and like Asteroids and like a bunch of different like it's basically like a Raspberry Pi emulator inside a big box, but it still was crazy. I was like, what? Like, how much could this have possibly cost? What are you doing? I don't know.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
It's really cool, but I was just like, God, no. When I'm a parent, my kid is not getting that thing.
You're like, he's gonna get a $30 gift card to Steam.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
I mean,
so I got some interesting stuff. I'm a big a fan of the Fangamer website. So my girlfriend asked me what I wanted for Christmas, and I basically was just like, buy me the things on Fangamer, just everything.
Just everything. So now you own the store?
I wish. It's such a cool store. I love it so much. No, I got a Hornet plush from Hollow Knight to match my other Hollow Knight plush. No big deal. It's pretty cool. I got a print, Hyper Light Drifter print that I really, really enjoy. And I got like a Hyper Light Drifter t-shirt, a Psychonauts t-shirt, little Hyper Light Drifter figurine. Just a bunch of cool stuff. My girlfriend bought me the Japanese import of Hyper Light Drifter, the physical copy, so I could get the other cover art, which I really wanted. So, yeah.
Oh, you.
Yeah, I asked for a bunch of dumb shit for Christmas, like things I already owned, basically. Because I also asked for Flint Hook. I already have Flint Hook. I just really wanted the physical copy from Limited Run.
Well, as long as you're happy, I guess, you weirdo.
Right? Yeah. It's especially weird. So, like, yesterday, as of recording this, yesterday I had the day off. And instead of sleeping in, I woke up at 8 a.m. to get on Limited Run's website. Or actually, I woke up at like 7:45 to get on Limited Run's website so that I could buy the physical collector's edition of Celeste and Momodoro Reverie Under the Moonlight, I think is what it's called. I picked them both up physically on PS4. And I was like, I just spent like $100 and I had to wake up early for this.
Was it worth it?
It's definitely worth it. It was really cool. I'm very excited for it.
I do like the Celeste version for PS4 better than Switch. I just like the blue color better than the red with it. I think it just looks better. But I would rather have
okay, so the only thing that slightly bothers me about this is when the Celeste Celeste copies, what I guess I'll find out when I Actually, I won't even do that since I bought the physical. So if you bought the collector's edition, you get a steel case with it. So I'm assuming that I won't get the original case. But if I do, I will have the complaint that when it was initially announced during the Kind of Funny Game showcase, it has a different cover art than the actual game does, supposedly as advertised on Limited Run's website. It's a little weird. I was a little bit off put by that.
I don't know. Well, that's
Yeah,
what you get for always buying physical things.
Right? Just something wrong with me, I guess. But time to get into the meat and potatoes of this. So we are going to start off with a couple honorable mentions that we wanted to talk about, and then we will move into our Game of the Year top 10s. I'm going to be honest, mine are in kind of like, they're in an order, but all together, other than the top 3, they're just kind of like sorted throughout, with the exception of one, which I will definitely like. I'll talk about why it's in such a low position, given what it is. But yeah. I'm excited for this episode. I'm really excited. Oh, and then of course after that we'll talk about some things we're looking forward to in 2019, some games. I marked on the dock a lot because I basically just went on Twitter and I was like, what games am I currently following, like through development? And it's a lot. It's a shitload. Yeah.
All right.
I have like 100 followers and I'm following like 500 fucking people because I just follow a shitload of games. So what are your honorable mentions, the games you wanted to give some shout outs to? These of course did not make your top 10, but I'm assuming you liked them.
A little bit, yeah, I would say so. So the first one I'll talk about is Minute. So Minute was a great game. It had an awesome concept to it, but I just feel like it missed the mark on a few things, and I feel like there's some quality of life pieces that it definitely needed. The best part of Minute was it's basically you have a minute to live. Like your character's always going to die at the end of a minute, and you have to constantly go through and solve puzzles to get to a next area or to get a new item that you retain when you basically wake up or start your game again at the end of each minute. So it's a constant progression. You're, learning different things. You have to figure out how to do something really quick, and it's an awesome concept, and I haven't really ever seen it before. The only problem was, especially when I was playing, I went a specific way where I ended up basically soft locking my game so that I was stuck on an island because I got there a way I shouldn't have. And so for that reason, I was like really salty about the game because I had to restart the whole thing halfway through. That being said, it's only like a 2-hour, 3-hour game, so it like wasn't the end of the world that I had to restart. But like, still, I feel like it could have been, patched where that doesn't happen. But other than that, I think it's a great concept, and I hope that they do some sort of sequel for it, because I think if they, add a few quality of life things or new challenges, I would still end up picking it up because it is an interesting game. The next one.
So I did want to bring something up before you got into your next one. So Minute was sorry, this is kind of just a weird thing that I just remembered I wanted to ask you about. Mm-hmm. Minute was published by Devolver Digital.
Yep.
But who was it developed by?
God, I don't know off the top of my head.
Don't you think that's kind of weird? Whenever like a big publisher, like when Nicholas published Cave Story Plus, mm-hmm. and like whenever Devolver publishes anything, we always know who published it because Devolver's like a big deal.
Yeah, it just gets swept under the rug, basically.
Yeah, you never realize who developed it. I just saw that the other day because I was, I forget what I was doing. Oh, I was looking at Devolver Digital was like, hey, these are the games that we're excited to put out in 2019. Mm-hmm. And I was like, oh, that's really cool. And then I like clicked on one of them and I was like, I know for a fact they're not developing this game. And then realized I was like, I don't actually know who is.
Yeah.
I just know that Devolver's publishing it. So yeah, that's what I wanted to bring up. Yeah. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you.
No,
I was just
no, it's all good. Yeah, and the actual
published Minute.
The actual studio is called Vlambeer, like Vlambeer.
Oh yeah, they he also put out Nuclear Throne.
Yep.
Yeah, I have like a bunch of T-shirts because I really like Nuclear Throne.
Well,
yeah.
There you go. Same people. And then the next honorable mention that I have is Book of Demons. If you don't know, if you're listening to this, I did a video review on it, gave it a 7.5. Definitely a good time playing it, but it pretty much is a Diablo clone with unique aspects to it. I don't think there's enough to really, take that above and beyond to say that it's the top 10 of the game, top 10 game of the year. But I definitely had a lot of fun playing it, and I think it was a unique twist to a dungeon crawler. And then the last one is actually what I was just talking about earlier is Deep Sky Derelicts. This is an honorable mention because, as I mentioned before, I'm pretty much addicted to it right now, and I think it definitely has potential, and I would like to continue playing to see if it is one of my top 10, but I just can't make that decision right now.
Nice. Yeah, that definitely makes sense. For my honorable mentions, I picked out a couple different games. So two of them did not actually come out this year. One of them, I mean, they're both like ongoing games, kind of like a games as a service. But they're just games I either got into or discovered this year that I felt needed a shout out. One because one of them people just aren't talking about enough, and it's really, really good. And the other because people shit talked it for a really long time, and I want to talk about
Okay.
it. So, but my first honorable mention, I wanted to talk about the awesome adventures of Captain Spirit, which was the like small episode that attaches to Life is Strange 2 that they announced at E3. It's a very good like little tidbit of a story that made me very excited for Life is Strange 2, and I would absolutely recommend that so let's say you guys want to play Life is Strange 2 and the second episode of Life is Strange 2 is coming out at the end of January. I would recommend actually playing the first episode of Life is Strange 2, then playing through the awesome adventures of Captain Spirit, and then playing through the second episode when it comes out. Because during the second episode is actually where Captain Spirit takes place. Which I will be putting up an article about this when the second episode comes out, and also reviewing it as well for Parallax. But I just really enjoyed it. It kind of like it was a palate cleanser at the time because I had been playing games like a bunch of roguelikes, like playing like Moonlighter and some other games. And it was just kind of a nice little palate cleanser to get back in the adventure game mode before I picked up Life is Strange 2. Plus, it's just, I don't know, it's fun to get into the like state of mind like a kid has again, which is really nice. Because you play as this young boy, and he's just kind of like playing around on a day, let alone like if you actually pay attention, he has kind of like a fucked up home life, and it obviously like if you play through the whole thing and you like beat it per se, which you can easily do in an hour or like an hour and a half if you want to, it definitely goes to like a darker scene, which I'm really excited for the second episode to kind of expand on. But I just thought it was really fun, and not enough people kind of talked about it, especially because how good Life is Strange is just as a series. For the second one, I wanted to talk about. I mean, you guys will eventually find out why I find this funny that I put it in honorable mentions, but I put Assassin's Creed Odyssey in my honorable mentions because I personally do not think that it was like an amazing game. A lot of people like talked about it and talked it up. A bunch of different people kind of just like, what am I can't even remember the word I'm going for right now. I'm just really drawing blanks today. I should have ate like some chicken nuggets or something before I got on podcast.
Ooh,
Oh,
dropped the ball.
championing. That's the word I'm looking for. A lot of people are kind of championing this one as like basically a resurgence of the Assassin's Creed genre, or not genre, but the series itself. A lot of people enjoyed Origins, but it seems like Odyssey is really, getting in people's heads, especially with the woman who did the performance for Cassandra getting nominated for an award at the Game Awards.
Yeah,
I don't think she
I
won.
don't think so either. But I'm so. I mean, this is a little bit of a spoiler, but that's eventually going to be in my top 10. Uh,
That's why I find it
I
funny.
know, but one of the things that I will say about it is like I like it specifically, even though I don't think it's like it's not top 10, but it's top 10 because I think it's a good game. And for me specifically, I have never liked an Assassin's Creed game. And this is the first one that I was like, oh, this is actually fun. I enjoy this. So like that's really what brought me into it.
I was a big fan of the series initially up until 3, and then 3 really annoyed me, basically just because of the ending, because I was like, Connor was kind of a bitch through 90% of this freaking game. And then in the end, he almost dies like a bitch. Like he basically like almost dies in this really stupid fashion, and it just annoyed me. Let alone the end of Desmond's story was stupid as well. So yeah, I fell off there. Black Flag was really good. I really enjoyed Black Flag. Never played Rogue, but I also heard it was really good. And just didn't really care for. I heard Unity ate ass. Um, I didn't really care about Syndicate, let alone I did really want to play it. Just because I found the two character system really cool, where you played as one of the two. Let alone like it being you're saving the world not by like assassinating people, but by like. I mean, you're not necessarily saving the world. You were like saving Britain from the Templars by basically building up like a crime syndicate.
Hmm.
So that one was really cool. But yeah, I barely played any bit of Origins. And when I got into Odyssey, I really did see what people really enjoyed about it. But I feel like it suffered a little bit from me having played Red Dead Redemption 2 before it. Because, like, I felt like the world wasn't as necessarily pretty as Red Dead Redemption 2. Especially like the foliage, just like trees and plants and stuff like that. It was, I don't know. I feel like not many games put enough time and effort into like trees and plants, which is definitely just me being nitpicky.
Yeah.
Obviously, that's my fucking
What
thing.
else
Is
to
just
do?
being nitpicky. But also the fact that like Red Dead 2 has those really deep horse mechanics, and then in Assassin's Creed Odyssey, it's just like, yeah, you have a fucking horse, dude. You just like you can call it. It's cool, I guess. It's a horse. And I was like, all right, I can basically like ride this horse everywhere, like 1,000 miles an hour. And then I didn't find the combat necessarily like especially like difficult or challenging. So once I got like the ability to do a bunch of damage with my arrows, I basically just like would assassinate one guy to build up my bar and then just like shoot people with these arrows that are excessively overpowered.
Yeah.
So I had like 5 different bounty hunters come after me at once one time, and I basically just kited them and shot them in the head with these really powerful arrows and killed them all. And like 3 of them were like over, I think 5 levels higher than me. They were much stronger than me, and I knew I couldn't take them out, but I ended up doing it because that game is kind of broken sometimes.
Did you try any like the mythical beasts and fight those?
I fought the boar, which I thought was kind of interesting. I didn't get like massively into the game. I got to the part where the cultists really start to open up, which is where people felt like the game was like really fun. But I kind of just felt it as like it was kind of more of the same. I hunted down a few different cultists, and I was like, honestly, I really liked hearing their backstories and everything, and I liked how like they interacted with the world. But the actual like gameplay and the acts of going to find them, I just found kind of like, it was the thing. But yeah, fighting the boar was definitely fun. I remembered seeing like a bunch of different articles when Odyssey first came out, where they were like, yeah, the first challenging fight that happened in this game was against this boar. Which, yes, it was the first challenging fight. But once again, I'll bring you back to my arrows that somehow do a shitload of damage. Like, so I basically just like parried its little like boars, its little like pigs to gain my bar, and then just like drilled them all in the head with these excessively powerful arrows. So I don't know. I kind of broke the game for myself. I feel like I would have enjoyed the game a lot more if I just hadn't have done that.
Just too good.
It's definitely a great game though. I just felt like there were so many like great games that I felt like did really special things or just were kind of like in my niche that I was like, I can't put it on my top 10, but I do want to talk about it because it's pretty great.
Hmm.
Um And then, of course, my other two, the one that people talk a massive amount of shit about, or they did at least, is Elder Scrolls Online. I recently got back into Elder Scrolls Online, or at least I did a while ago, and got really heavy into it and really enjoyed it. It's got a bunch of like really, really interesting quests, which I love. But of course, the quests are just like fetch quests and stuff like that. It's nothing
Yeah.
too interesting. Yeah, ultimately, it definitely falls in the trap of all MMOs where it just kind of like its grinding is not interesting. It's just kind of boring. And the loot game is not, but I found the stories really interesting, so that's why I was playing it. And then the last game I have on here that I just feel like not a lot of people are talking about is Project Gorgon, or Gorgon, however you want to say it. It's an indie MMO that you can only get on Steam at the moment, whereas Elder Scrolls Online, obviously on consoles. And it's all skills based, so you don't have a standard level. You actually get so let's say you get a sword, you actually like you'll initially be given the like sword skill, but normally you'd have to like purchase the skill or find the skill some other way to actually level that skill up to actually use it. It's really cool. Instead of leveling yourself up, you level up skills, and then but it's also like an old school MMO, similar to like EverQuest and stuff like that, where it definitely does not hold your hand at all. Like I said earlier, games are definitely like overcorrecting and making games like just harder than they need to be, harder than is necessary. And this is definitely one of those. It's not for the faint of heart, but it's super fun. I definitely recommend people looking into it. It's pretty awesome.
Interesting. Yeah, I've never.
Plus, something that's really cool about it is, so like how standard quests like track this. When you get quests, they track, but you don't actually have any like waypoints. So you have to listen to what people say and take notes. And then you have to follow said notes. It's really cool. It was ambiguous to the point where I was like, this is actually really interesting trying to figure shit out.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah, once again, that's one of those I would have to be in the mood for a game like that. I feel like that's not something I would
Oh
play
yeah.
often.
It would I definitely understand why not like not enough people talk about it, because it's very weird.
Yeah.
It's a niche game if there ever was a niche game. But you can actually level up being a bard, which is really cool. Like you actually so you like learn how to be a bard, and you learn the skill to like play the lute or different instruments, and then the more like people who play with you, the greater buff you get. So you like have this entire like symphony of people, and you get this awesome like XP boost. It's really cool.
What
I really like it.
what a top 10 segue.
Yeah, right, yeah.
Man.
So, yeah, let's move into our top 10. I wanted to start off with your top 10. So, we'll basically just read off our like 10 and then our 9, our 8. But we'll just take turns, I guess, kind of.
Okay.
But I didn't plan this out like an excessive amount. I literally like I forgot to text you and tell you that I wanted to do the game of the year stuff until my roommate reminded me, and I was like, "Oh shit, I gotta do that."
That's okay. We'll figure it out. But you're gonna make me do it? We just
Yeah, you get to go
we
first.
set up the segue for you. We just talked about a
No.
bard.
Okay, whatever. I'll go into it. That's a good point. So I mean, there's got to be some bards in the game that you got, but for my number 10 is Wonder Song. This is a game developed by, I'm just gonna say Greg Lobanov, but I don't actually know if there's like if they have the team name. It was published by Humble Bundle. It's really cool. You play as a bard who's basically saving the world through song. We've talked about it before. It's got a really weird like gameplay mechanic where everything you do is based on song, which I find really cool, and it's all based on like a color wheel, depends on what pitch you actually sing. And I just love the game specifically because it's not a game that you're gonna play for gameplay's sake, or for like intense puzzles. It's just kind of like I like the game's story, and I like kind of the overall like what's it, the optimism of it,
Yeah.
which is definitely something that makes sense considering how freakishly optimistic and nice Greg was. I wasn't expecting it. It was a little weird, but it's a really interesting game. It's really special, and that's why I felt like it needed to be on my top 10, because there are a lot of games that are music based, like Tetris Effect, and there's a lot of like rhythm games and stuff like that. But I felt like there aren't enough games that are like just based on the joy of music than it being a gameplay mechanic, similar to like um Tomb of the Necrodancer, I think is what it's
Yeah,
called. How
yeah.
it's you hopping with the beat and attacking with the beat is part of the mechanic. Um, I just find that this game is like it's way more about the celebration of music and the way it makes you feel than it is about you experiencing like the world through music as a means kind of a thing.
Yeah, I think that
If
makes
that makes
sense.
any sense.
Yeah, no, it does. Yeah, because I really enjoyed the story. I mean, that's really the reason why I played it. Like the unique little elements that they used as far as gameplay wise was nice to like continue the story along. But really, after I got like hooked on after the first couple of chapters, it was really more just to see how the story played out.
Yeah, it's a great game, guys. You should play it.
Pick it up.
So, what is your number 10, Josh?
My number 10 is Octopath Traveler. So it's actually interesting for me because I'm not the biggest JRPG guy. I don't play it very often, but Octopath came at a time when I had just pretty much picked up a Switch and it was coming out. They had, which I think more people should do, that like 3 hour time slot of demo of basically like, here, play the full game. You have 3 hours of it. What a great way to suck people in, because I basically was just stuck in it after those 3 hours and I was like, oh man, I need this game now. I can't play it anymore. I have to have it and continue through. And it was very like interesting because it was old school JRPG, but a lot of the elements to it were like fixed by adding things like the limit break, where you would basically weaken people's defense by using certain attacks. I thought the different story elements to it were really interesting, that you had so many different characters and each one had a different path. But the reason why it's lower in the list, I think, is just because, one, as with many JRPGs, I could not finish it. I put in 50 hours, but I just could not get through the entire thing.
Let
Um,
alone the fact that there's like 8 different stories.
exactly. So, I mean, that's one of the reasons why it couldn't keep me involved for that much longer. And I also didn't like how the fact where it had those 8 different stories, but they didn't really come together in any way. I really wish there would have been more of a communication between the different parties that you have. And I know that would have been a lot harder to set the variables for who you have at a certain time, but I think that would have made that much higher on the list of a top 10 game if it had something like that.
That definitely makes sense, because even in like the granddaddy of all role playing games, Dungeons and Dragons, when you initially start off like on a campaign, any DM, let alone a good DM, they actually give you parameters. They're like, "Why the fuck are you here?" Because you just being here does not make sense.
Mhm.
That just nobody just gets together for no reason with some strangers. So
Yeah.
I definitely understand what you're saying with like you wish there was a little bit more of like interconnectivity between them,
Mhm.
or at least their stories. I haven't played Octopath Traveler, but
No, I mean, it's pretty good. It's top 10, lower top 10,
I
top
didn't
10.
I didn't know it had like a demo or anything like that. That's actually really cool. That makes me want to like try it.
Yeah, go play it for 3 hours and then pick it up. I actually have the physical version of it.
Oh shit.
I
You
know.
bought it physically?
Yeah, crazy, right?
Did you put it in your mouth?
I
Was it sour?
what? Wait, what? No?
Did you never hear about that?
Uh, no.
That supposedly Nintendo purposely added like an acidic compound to their cartridges to keep people from putting them in their mouths.
Uh,
But of course, that immediately made people taste them. That immediately make people put them in their mouths.
I mean, I guess I'm gonna have to try it.
Yeah, supposedly it's like really sour. It tastes like battery acid, I
I
guess.
would
It's
never have
weird.
thought to put that in my mouth, but I'm also not a child, so
Right? Yeah, it was supposed to like deter people from doing it, which is just hilarious. Yeah, immediately like when the Nintendo Switch came out, and Breath of the Wild came out, I worked at GameStop and we had somebody like tell us about this, me and my coworker, and I was like, "No fucking way. That's not a thing. Like that's so dumb." And then my coworker Austin, he was like, "I got to try it." And he went into the back room and licked it. He was like, "Yeah, no, it's so true.
Oh,
It tastes exactly like battery acid."
that's pretty gross that somewhere out there has Austin's licked copy.
Nah, don't worry about it, guys. You'll never be able to find it. It's okay. Just imagine how many Nintendo Switch cartridges have been licked. There's probably a shitload.
I mean, yeah.
You could probably clone like thousands of people from Nintendo Switch cartridges.
All right, moving on.
So for my number 9, I've got Monster Boy and the Cursed Kingdom. Um, Of course, like I said, for my top 10, a lot of these are like my niche as a gamer, and this is like a 2D platformer, which I really enjoy. Let alone the fact that I'm a big fan of Wonder Boy and the Dragon's Trap. With the caveat of I'm a fan of the remaster. I never played the original. I really like the art style of these games. I think it looks really beautiful, and I love everything that they've done to them. How they, small changes in what you're wearing or just your inventory in general, you can affect the world differently depending on that. I love the creatures that are in the world. I think they're very pretty, and they're like really cute. Which is, I don't know. I just realized a lot of the games on my top 10 list, one of the main factors of the reasons that I like them so much is because of the character designs. So many of them have like amazing character designs, with the exception of one, which just has like grotesque characters that are just disgusting, and I don't know why I like them. But yeah, the character design is a big thing in games for me,
I mean,
and
if you're gonna be staring at it for that many hours, you might as well like what you're looking at.
I guess it's very true. Yeah, that's very true. So the reason that Monster Boy is so low on my list, with me having like kind of a high opinion of it, is specifically because I feel like the platforming is just, it's not as tight as I'd like it to be. And it kind of feels like jumping underwater. It's very slow. So like in a standard platformer like Hollow Knight, for instance, it's very quick and responsive, especially because that game is so brutal, whereas Monster Boy is not as brutal. But as a consequence of that, it seems that the platforming is just, it's just not fast enough. And like I said, it's like being underwater. It's very slow and it feels very heavy. So that's why it's so low on my list, but I really do enjoy it. I would definitely recommend people pick it up, especially physically, because you get some stickers. It's cool. I like it.
So my number 9 is, and we already talked about this, so I'll keep it brief, was Assassin's Creed Odyssey. I think the reason why it's on here, let alone, I mean, it's lower in the totem pole because I just didn't really click as well with me. I did play a lot of it, but once again, I've never been really into the Assassin's Creed just motif in general. I never really picked up on it. I played the first one and I thought it was really, really boring because it was like the same thing over and over again. It was too many fetch quests, too much of going on those towers. It got old real quick. But with this one, I gave it a try again because there was a lot of hype around it. And I do think that there's a lot of elements that they added in this one that really shine well for the series, at least in my opinion, of a game that I would want to continue playing. The reason why it is lower on the list is kind of similar to Octopath. Is it was a game that I fully enjoyed, but did not continue to grab me. After about 20 hours or so in, is kind of where I was like, well, I think I've played enough of this. This is, I got my fill of what I wanted out of the game. So for that reason, I don't put it as high on a top 10, but during my time playing it, I very much enjoyed it.
Yeah, there's definitely some interesting. I really liked Assassin's Creed Odyssey. I will bring up, just for like listeners, it is possible that we have not beat these games. I know there are games on my list that I have not beaten, but I've spent enough time with them to develop an opinion on it. So I felt like I just needed to say that, especially because I was like, oh yeah, just in case anybody asks, I have not beat one or two of these games. There are a couple of them that I have not, because I just go through things so quickly. But I spent like, I would say 20 hours or more with Assassin's Creed Odyssey. It's a very good game.
Hmm.
I don't know, it just didn't click with me as much as like the other Assassin's Creed games do, which is kind of weird because the reasons that it didn't click with me are the exact reasons that it clicked with so many people. So,
Hmm.
um, yeah, I don't know. That's kind of weird.
Everybody's got their own
Um,
opinion, so that
yeah,
works.
right. That's kind of the whole purpose of having these discussions. So for my number 8, I put Moonlighter on the list. This is developed by, I believe, Digital Sun Games. That's just off the top of my head. It's very possible that I got that horrifically wrong. Um,
You're right.
but Moonlighter,
Well, it's Digital
oh,
Sun,
boom.
no games, just Digital Sun, but close enough. I'll give you
Whatever.
the point.
I was basically there. They made a fantastic game. The pixel art in this game is absolutely beautiful. I do have to come back to character designs. They put like unique twists on characters that I really really enjoy. Which actually it kind of depresses me because they put out a physical edition of this that only came out in Europe, which came with a slime plush that I really wanted, and I can't get it because it's in Europe. It really bothers
The
me.
true struggle.
Um, yeah, right. The real struggle is not being able to get things overseas. I need to get like a PO box over there or something. I have a friend who did that, and he has people like ship it to him. But anyway, the character designs in this game are pretty fantastic. They put like small twists on already existing like formulas of character design. So like there's the traditional slime that's existed in every RPG since forever, and it's always kind of looked weird. It's either just like a normal slime or it's like a weird slime like in Dragon Quest where it's like a slime with creepy eyes and shit. It just looks odd. Whereas in Moonlighter, it's kind of weird. They only changed it a little bit to where it has just one massive eye. That's just like it makes it kind of cute in like a really weird way. Like when you find really ugly things cute for some reason. Um and they made them red, which is different. Well, some of them are red, but I just found like that changed a lot about the slime that made me actually enjoy it, which is a little odd because it's just not the standard like green slime. But the standard mechanics of this game is it's a roguelike where you go into these different portals to basically gather up as much merchandise as you can, and then you go back to your store, which you then sell all of that merchandise, and you use the money to you can like upgrade your store. You can do all sorts of different stuff, upgrade different stores in your town. You can kind of like build up the town, and you can purchase like additional like items that and you use like pieces that you find in the dungeon to craft new bits of armor and different weapons and stuff like that. I find it really, really fun. I just think it's kind of like a unique take on it, because the majority of roguelikes, I feel like I've never really got a lot out of them other than the gameplay, which has always been my issue with it. But with Moonlighter, it also has the added bit of like being a storefront simulator, which is really weird, and I normally wouldn't enjoy that, but it's really fun and in depth in this game. To the point where like you actually have to monitor prices and how people like them, and you can't flood the market with a certain thing even though it might be highly sought after, because then people will either be like they just won't buy it because there's so much of them, or your price like will go down because you flooded the market. It's really interesting. It's a game that I never would have thought I'd like. If you didn't show me the art or anything like that, if you just told me what the game was, I probably wouldn't have liked it, because it's two kinds of games that I don't like. It's simulator and it's a roguelike. Well, I mean, I like them. They're just not my first pick.
But do you rogue like it? Ah, ah, ah.
Speaking of, people can eat my ass if they really want to
Whoa!
get down onto the tidbits on the difference between a roguelike and roguelite. Just fuck off, okay? I like a while ago, we were like talking in our Discord for Parallax, and somebody was talking about roguelikes, and I was just like, I had brought up something that I was like, yeah, it seems to be, oh, it's about Dead Cells. I was like, it seems to be like an odd like thing where everyone either says one or the other. So it was both being called a roguelike and a roguelite.
Hmm.
And I was like, it seems to be there's no consensus on this. And then somebody was like, yeah, if you point out the different, he's like, if you're so, it's like pedantic to point that out, which just means like you're trying to feel self-important by pointing out a minute detail, which the difference between the two, I don't think anybody fucking knows. It's stupid. Like,
Well,
I don't
actually,
understand
the
it.
difference is, no, I'm just kidding.
I wish. I wish you could tell me the difference between the two so people could shut the fuck up.
uh,
It's so weird.
I looked up a video on it, remembered it from back in the day, but it doesn't really matter to me. I'll say roguelite
I feel
now,
like it's a
roguelike
small
later.
difference.
It is. But that is a great segue for my number 8, which is Dead
Yeah.
Cells. Uh, good setup there, Vaughn. Um, Dead Cells is definitely a top 10. I think it's an awesome game. Everyone who's in games media is talking about it and how this is, for most people, one of their first roguelikes where they're like, oh, I actually like this, or I like the RNG to this. Otherwise, I hate the game, this type of game. I've always liked this style, and I just think it's fun. I love the fast pacedness to this game. I don't think that's a word, but
You almost got
just
it.
that style of quickly finding, the RNG of having different builds each time, going through, quickly rushing through to the next area and fighting the different bosses that are there. It's a lot of fun. It's very difficult, but very rewarding when you do beat it. And I definitely loved it. It's lower on the totem pole just because I think there's just way too many good games out there, and there's nothing really as far as like story or something that really drives me to like this other than just constant replayability. But I definitely had a blast with this and recommend it.
Yeah, I really enjoyed Dead Cells. It'll come up later. For our number sevens, my number 7 is Life is Strange 2. So I felt kind of conflicted about putting this on my list because I believe it's going to be 4 to 5 episodes in this season, and they only have the first episode out right now. But I ultimately did it because one, I enjoyed it so much, and I enjoy the series so much. And two, I felt like I feel like it's going in a really good direction. And I think it's just going to be, I really like, I'm confident that it's going to be a great game. So I'm not afraid to say that I think it's going to be a great game or that I think it is. So yeah, I kind of deliberated with myself for a while about putting this on here, but just decided to. Life is Strange 2. If you guys don't know, it's kind of like the resurgence of adventure games, but this is the sequel to Life is Strange, where you play as Max, and she has the ability to control time. You like rewind, you make different choices. It's really cool, and it's a really great story and love story and like crime story. It's really awesome. I'd recommend you play it. Life is Strange 2 takes place in the same world, but you play as a different person. You are a teenager who's taking care of your little brother, who, without spoiling anything, is special. And your life is kind of thrown off track. It's kind of like it's really blown up because of some possibly like stupid decisions you may have made, or just kind of like it's definitely in Life is Strange 2, the first episode, and I'm assuming the rest of it, it's very topical with what's happening right now, whereas like Detroit Become Human, the androids are like a metaphor for like immigrants and people's hatreds of them, which is just unwarranted. Life is Strange 2, it's people have like basically said that the metaphor for Detroit Become Human was very on the nose. It's obviously like that in Life is Strange 2 as well, but it is because you play a minority, so it makes sense. But I don't know, it put me in a role that I've never been in before. I'm just kind of like being who I am. I obviously have certain privileges. And I'd never have to worry about some of the stuff that these two go through. So it's just really interesting, and I really love the story. Let alone the soundtrack is fantastic. Has a lot of songs that I really enjoy, and a lot of bands I really enjoy, like Block Party and the like. I definitely recommend playing it. The second episode, like I said, is coming out later. But make sure you do play the first episode, and then Captain Spirit, and then play it. Because I feel like it'll just go better. It'll mesh better. Okay, guys. Jeez. So, what's your number 7?
My number 7 is Hollow Knight. We've talked a little bit about this already, and in many other podcasts, but Team Cherry, we're waiting for that physical release.
I'm fucking dead, guys. I'm dead. I'm in the afterlife.
Hollow Knight, I struggled with putting this one on here just because technically it came out in 2017, but
Semantics.
it was released 2018 on the Switch, and there was a ton of new content that was released with that. Hollow Knight is just an amazing game. I technically played it back in 2017, but it's just such a good game, and I picked it back up for the DLC, and I think it's definitely even worth it just for that, for the extra like bosses and things that they add to it. Um, from a Metroidvania style, I think they do it perfectly. The constant going through different areas, looking at unique parts of the map and being like, why can't I do this? Going about an hour in, finding that unique piece, and then being like, oh yeah, I got to go back, finding that, marking that, having the different build types with those. I forget what they.
Charms.
Yeah, the charms. That's what they're. So the charms that would give you those different perks and abilities and things to basically play the game the way you wanted to. I love having those styles in a game, especially when it comes to those where you have to go back and forth and fight all those different enemies. It's a very, once again, tough game, but very rewarding once you beat those bosses. And I love that style.
Yeah, it's obviously gonna come up that I really enjoy having Hollow Knight. But yeah, I did the exact same thing. I was like, I don't know if I can put this on here because it came out in 2017 on PC. But then I ultimately decided to because I felt like a lot of people, their first like interaction with this game is going to be on consoles. Because there's just a lot of people who don't play PC. Even though, of course, there are a lot of people who do. But it was just like accessed by like a massive audience this year because it was put on Nintendo Switch, Xbox One, and PS4. I don't know if it is on Xbox One, but if it is, you guys should play it. It's a really good game. But for my number 6, I've been harping on this game for like the past week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, whatever. And before, because I was really anticipating its release, my number 6 is Chasm. I really enjoyed this game. I think its art is fantastic. Once again, character designs are fantastic. There are a bunch of enemies in it that I think are like really pretty, and they're also like they're just really cool looking. There's a couple different swordsmen that I really enjoy, and yeah, I kind of hate that I'm harping on this character design thing so much, but I just realized that that's a big thing for me, honestly. During this podcast, I realized that. But Chasm is just really like, I don't know, it's kind of special because it's both a Metroidvania and procedurally generated, which I didn't know was a hard thing to do, but apparently it is with SkyTorn. Yeah. It's very special. It's very pretty. The reason that it's further down on my list is just because there are times when I felt like the platforming wasn't as tight as it could be, similar to Monster Boy. But this, of course, is not as slow as Monster Boy because there is that difficulty curve. But it's a lot of fun. And also, there's the added issue that I have that your gear does not show up on your character.
Always.
I do find that bullshit.
Always the little details.
Yeah, dude. There's always the annoying stuff.
Well, speaking of another game where your armor does not change on your
That's
character.
bullshit. I'm never playing that game. Never playing it.
My number 6 is Crosscode. I definitely recommend it. Crosscode is an amazing game. We've talked about it before in previous podcasts, but it kind of takes the dot hack story, if you've ever played that game, and twists it on its head a little bit. I don't know why I'm having trouble saying that, but I won't say exactly how because that would be spoilers. But it's a very fun game. It's very interesting. It's you being in this virtual world and trying to get back your memories. And it's just such a fast paced where they do kind of like you're in an MMO, but not as much. So there is a little bit of the grind, but it's fun grind. And they make it so all of the NPCs and the AI around you act as if they're other characters in an MMO. And it gives you like allies that will talk to you and do things during it. So it has a very well concept of immersing you into the actual atmosphere of the game and making you feel like you are a part of that world. And it's got some crazy tough boss fights. It's got some really intense puzzles that really make you think for a while. But one of the nice things is it's one of those games where, like a Celeste, they do have a mode that came out a bit after the release because people were complaining that it was way too hard, which for a good reason, it was very hard. You can now do things where you turn down the difficulty of how much damage you take or slow down the puzzle speed, which really helps out. I didn't turn down the difficulty of like the enemies attacking me, but the puzzles were just crazy how fast you had to be because you'd figure out what you have to do, but you'd have to like time your skills so quickly that I would often just be like, oh, I can't do this. I know what I'm supposed to do, but I just can't do it right. So having that slowdown really helped out so that there was less rage and more just me having fun with the game.
I was actually kind of surprised. Like, not many people are talking about crosscode. I'm just like kind of they aren't talking about playing crosscode. But there are a decent amount of games that are like games industry like professionals that are bringing it up during like game of the year discussions and talking about like how it just like nobody's really playing it. So it's
Yeah.
kind of getting snubbed. I thought that was kind of interesting because I was like, Josh is the first person that I've heard about crosscode from, and like I didn't hear anybody else say shit about it until basically like game of the year discussion came up.
Yeah.
And they were just like, yeah, it's a really good game. I'm like, what the fuck are you, why aren't you talking
It,
about it
it
then?
really flew under the radar, and it's a shame too because it's a really good game, and it's one of the games where like you get a lot of bang for your buck. It's like I think only $20, and I played about like 50 hours before I got close to the end there.
Damn.
Yeah, so it's a long
Uh,
game.
so speaking of long games, my number 5, and this is the one where I feel like it deserves this place, is Red Dead Redemption 2. So instead of harping on how good this game is and kind of sucking its dick like most people are, which sounds it's just definitely a crude way to say that. But instead of just talking about how good it is, I feel like I need to justify why I would put it at number 5. Honestly, it's because like it's choice realism. It chooses to be real when it wants to be real, or at least that's the excuse that people give it. Which is of course I've said that several times now, but I feel like not enough people are really like hammering that in. The fact that you basically massacre an entire fucking town. You're the most like prolific serial killer in the history of the world, and nobody says shit about it. That's just like a normal thing. People love to talk about the random encounters making the world feel like lived in. It doesn't necessarily feel lived in when you run into like the same few random encounters all the time. Like there's everyone likes to talk about there's this one random encounter where you come across a person in a bear trap and you end up saving them, and then later on they're like, "Hey, I'll buy you a gun in the gunsmith or whatever." Little did you know that that reward is given to several different people. Like everybody just somehow is like, this guy obviously looks like he kills people because he really does. That's kind of what that game is. It's like a murder simulator, but in the Wild West. They just all know you want a gun. It's really weird. But I run across people in these bear traps so often. I'm like, how many dumbasses step in bear traps? I don't understand. Who the fuck is like setting down all these bear traps across the West that people are just stepping in? And generally, it's their own fucking bear trap. How did you not know it was there? You put it there.
It's a pretty big problem back in the West. Bears. It's just too many of them.
Apparently, it's not even bears, it's just bear traps. I would imagine there's a shortage of bears. I literally have yet to run into a fucking bear. Oh no, I ran into a bear because it's a quest. I've literally only seen one bear in this fucking game, but I've seen like 12 people get caught in bear traps. I'm like, guys, stop with the fucking bear traps. You're obviously not good with them. But of course, this is a great game. I heard this little tidbit on I think it's the Besties, Polygon's the Besties, where they talked about the best games of 2018, and they were talking about Red Dead Redemption 2, and they said this really like apt thing where they said it's 20 hours of a really good game and 60 hours of a really tedious game.
Yeah.
And I was like, that is so true. This game is often really tedious, but it also has these moments that just make you realize that this is a technical achievement. This is an amazing game that's really worth playing, but ultimately there's just so much system bloat. There's just so much to it that you're like, this didn't need to like, you could cut off I swear, like 60% of that game and it would be game of the year. I would have no issue with it. I would be like, yeah, number one game of the year. It like them doing so much is what I have issues with, which is a little odd, let alone the online being basically just like kind of a shell, but it is a beta, so I understand.
Yeah.
Once again, the moniker of beta gives you a lot of leeway among players.
That's why there's so many games still in beta now.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, I don't know. I've never been a fan of Rockstar games just because of their clunkiness. Like, I like them, but I can't imagine trying to play that just because of how slow paced they purposely did this for the game. I definitely don't think it would resonate with me at all. I haven't even.
It's excessively slow.
Yeah, I haven't tried it just because I know this is not the game for me. So
yeah, it's like, do you want to play 80 hours of a game that really could have been 20? That's good, because you're gonna.
But going to my number 5, that would be Spider-Man. So Spider-Man, it kind of flew under the radar as far as like game awards go, or game of the year contenders.
Everyone says it's the Horizon of 2018.
Yeah, it's a shame
that
too.
It just got snubbed.
It's a shame too, because it's a good game. I mean, it's basically, I mean, it's not as good, but it comes pretty darn close to what the Arkham series did for Batman. This is definitely the best Spider-Man game, and the actual going through and slinging webs and flying through the city was just, it felt so right, and the combat of it just felt very very right for the style of the game. I think it's definitely in the right spot, and I think that I'm very much looking forward to what's going to come next from the Spider-Man series. But I definitely just think that there's just so many good games out right now that unfortunately it's kind of mid-tier right now for me.
Yeah, that definitely. I didn't even play Spider-Man, to be honest. It just didn't really appeal to me. I was like excited about it for a while. And I feel like I really need to get into it because people are saying the sound design is amazing. Like how the music swells as you swing.
Yeah.
I think that's really cool. I do love how much people like talk about how polished the game is. They're like, it looks so great, it's so polished, and then you see like the boat people,
yeah,
where it's so fucking bad. They're just like, it's a polygon, it's like a square. They're not even people. They're just faceless, creepy husks. They're the stuff of nightmares.
That's what they're going for. Got that nightmare.
Yeah, right. It's an allegory that we're all empty inside. Or it's a metaphor, not necessarily an allegory. It's a metaphor that we're all empty.
Yeah, I'm sure that's what they were trying.
Of course, Insomniac's just trying to subtly insult us all, naturally.
I could see it. After the way the fans are treating them, I could see it.
Dude, right? The like Sam Raimi Spider-Man thing? Okay, I do have to talk about this real quick, because everybody that has a podcast talks about it. I love that everybody's just like, dude, they obviously were doing this beforehand. You guys were dicks for no reason. Like, yeah. There's no way that they weren't going to do this. They were going to. You guys are just dicks, and then they happened to get it out right after you being dicks. That's it. You did not change anything.
Should have just never released it. Been like, oh, no, you lost it. You lost your chance. We were going to do it, but now we're not.
Honestly, that's what I would have done. I would have told them to fuck off. I would have been like, actually, we could have done it, but you guys were assholes.
What are the next day show like gameplay of the skin and just be like, you can never have this.
Right? Put out a trailer for the Sam Raimi skin.
And then just like coming never.
Coming, eat shit, a-holes. Just fades to black.
Yeah, perfect.
So for my number 4 on my list, I have Dead Cells. This is a game where I was talking about where the character designs were just so grotesque that they're just like disgusting, and they're odd, but I really do enjoy the pixel art in it. It has very tight controls. I really enjoy its platforming. It's definitely it's a hard game. But that's just kind of how games are nowadays. They've like not only do they make things hard because they don't teach you how to do things, but they make things hard because they're just like, yeah, people are better at video games now. Just fucking play it. Like, don't be a bitch about it, kind of a thing. I really enjoyed Dead Cells. I This is one of the games that I have not beaten because I am not good at video games. And I probably won't beat it anytime soon. But I really have enjoyed like everything that I've played of it. I really enjoy. Now I'm trying to remember what they're called mutations, right? Your mutations where you like they're perks.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, that's what I thought. I really enjoyed that, especially because like roguelikes are so annoying in the way that you never get to carry anything over. But the way that like the game gets easier because you get better at it and you get better like gear and mutations and stuff like that. Plus, I really do enjoy all the cinematic trailers that they put out for Dead Cells. They're really pretty and funny, and I really enjoy that. I wish the main character though looked more like he does in the cinematics than he actually does in the game, which is kind of obviously a nitpicky thing.
I mean, he's kind of just like a big, just blob guy. Like,
Yeah, he's like a blob that inhabits like a corpse that's like an eyeball on fire. It's weird.
yeah,
There's a lot of weird shit in this fucking game.
it's
But it's a really good game. You guys should definitely play it.
it's a good
It's on a lot of top 10 lists.
So my number 4 is going to be Celeste. I loved this game. A lot of people talk about the story and they go crazy about how deep it was. I definitely didn't feel as drawn into it. I loved the story, but I think I played it so late into the year that it felt very overhyped when I played it. Not to downplay the story at all, because it was a good story and it was a great game for just the platforming aspect alone. I had so much fun. The controls are so tight and it was just such a challenging experience, but it never felt over challenging to me. It felt like a good amount of the way they spaced it out was very well thought out. In each one of them had about 3 to 4 jumps that you had to make that were tough, so that you would learn over time how to get there, and then you would have to go to the next 4. So it never felt too overbearing in how many things you had to do at once. So I think the pacing of it was just right, and I think that's why it definitely is one of my top tier games of this year.
And then, of course, there are those few sections and levels that are just gigantic pains in the ass. And then you just want to turn on assist mode. You're like, I'm so close to doing it,
I
but I just can't.
I never did though.
Yeah, I haven't either. And it's killing me. It's like, it's taking my soul apart bit by bit. I guess if I had one, there's always that age-old saying that gingers don't have souls. You know what I mean, dude?
Well, I don't, but I mean, good luck with that.
So speaking about just kind of like husks and hollow bits, weird segue.
Good segue.
So my number 3 is Hollow Knight. I've really been talking this game up. I really love this game. It's so good. Its art design is so fantastic. Even though its creatures are like grotesque, they're grotesque in a really cute way. And I really love that. Everything about this game I really, really enjoy. And like we talked about at the beginning of the show, it's kind of got something for everybody. It's got the like the hardcore platforming and combat that some people might want. Those who play gameplay is key. Those people will enjoy it for those reasons. And then it has like this crazy in-depth story about weird shit. that people like me would enjoy. But it's super hard to pick up on, honestly. You have to like talk to everybody, you have to check out all the totems and everything. That's honestly why I put it below the other two games on this list. Well, actually, my top is just, it was a given.
Yeah.
But that is why I put it below my number two, is because it's just at times a little bit too ambiguous, but I would absolutely recommend checking out like lore videos on Hollow Knight. It's like, it's so good. The lore is so weird and kind of hard to understand at times, but once it goes full circle, it's just so good. Plus, you gotta love the fact that they have free DLC. It's just free. You got the like 4 or 5 DLC packs for free. Gotta love it.
Speaking of free DLC and platformy fighty games, my top third game is The Messenger. This game is amazing. I had so much fun with this. I did review it for Parallax, and I ended up giving it a 9. There's certain things that I think hold it back, just pacing wise, that I feel they could have done a little bit better, because the way they basically set this game up is it's just a platformer of going through one area to the next until you hit about halfway through, when it changes into a Metroidvania out of nowhere, which was awesome, because in this game there was a lot of moments where I didn't know what was coming next. I felt like there were many twists to it, which kept me thinking like, oh, I'm at the end of the game. Oh, no, I'm not. I had like nowhere near it, which I thought was really great, but the pacing for it at the end got much slower than at the start of it. So for a lot of people, they ended up hating that portion. I didn't hate it, but I definitely understand where they're coming from, where it could have been a little bit cleaner. But the boss fights to it are just so much fun, and it had what I feel like is the exact element of difficulty, where you would fight a boss and you would lose the first time, but it didn't take a million tries to complete it. It was just learning the pattern and understanding really what you can do, and what way they're going to attack you. So I felt very connected to this game in just being able to play it and having just a real good time with it.
Yeah, I really want to play The
You
Messenger,
should.
but I haven't.
I know. You definitely should.
Once they get that physical release, dude, I'll be all over it.
Uh,
Give me a plush with it too. I'll get balls deep in that game. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's just be so good.
Yeah. They should, yeah, man. They should make a messenger plush of the little shopkeep guy. He's the best.
I wish I
You'll
understood
find. You'll
that.
find out. You'll find out. You play it, you'll understand.
So kind of speaking of, really just, I don't know. I forget where I was going with that. My number 2 is Celeste. Yeah, I got there. Woo, amazing segue. For all the reasons that you said, I really enjoyed Celeste as well. I don't really want to harp on how amazing this game is, because everyone is. Just the thing I wanted to talk about when talking about Celeste is that I do love that people are writing in mental health into stories.
Mm-hmm.
But the one thing I find a little bit odd, but it's also something that I understand, is that I feel like in that vein, people just aren't talking about Wonder Song in that same way, which is a little weird. Wonder Song is really like genuine and unique, where it does similar things, where it talks about like, I don't know, kind of like breaking out of your own mold, and it follows similar themes, but nobody's really talking about it, which I think is a little weird. So I'm just gonna instead of taking the time to talk even more about Celeste, I'm gonna tell people to play some Wonder Song. If you haven't played Celeste, if you played Celeste and you want another great game to play Wonder Song. But also, it's not at all similar. Just be
I think
be aware of that fact.
I think it's a good point, though, that there needs to be more visibility and more talk about these kind of things, and I definitely think it's coming, especially in just more game development, as we're starting to get more of what seems like story-based games from a lot of the indie developers, just because games are evolving more and becoming more of a polished product at the end of the day, it seems like, or at least more of the ones that get talked about are the ones that really shine. But it's definitely something that hits close to me. So I do appreciate the story of it, and it is an interesting look at it if you don't have any of those mental health issues or problems that you can't quite understand how people really feel. It's a good rendition of really what it's like to be in that situation. So props
All
to
right
them.
then.
I know there's not really like a good segue from that, but props to them. So I'll try to segue. Speaking of nothing like that, Super Smash is my top two. Uh, I mean,
I'm so surprised you put it at number 2, honestly.
so I kind of struggled with it because like it's also more of a recency bias thing, I think, in some cases, because if I had more time, we'll see if that number changes. But for right now, it's definitely my top two, just because the game has so much to offer, especially when you're talking about all the content that comes into it, all the different spirits, all the different soundtracks, all the different stages, having everything comprised into one giant package. Like this is the ultimate Smash. I've been a fan of Smash for since the start, since the N64. I've played every single one of them, and I've never been very good at it, but I've always enjoyed it. And I think this one is just such a good homage to everything that Smash has done. It's an amazing game when playing with friends, when having them in that party, and it's an amazing game even just single player with like the classic mode with the different World of Light, the different spirit boards. It's very fun for me to just pick it up and play it. I think it's an awesome game. The one thing that I will say is just their online sucks, but as much as people will harp on that, Nintendo has just never been good at online. I just don't expect anything from them.
That's very true. Their online eats shit.
That's good. Yeah, that's pretty much the only way you can describe it.
I really enjoy Smash. I I couldn't put it on my list just because I don't know. I just don't like fighting games that much. I feel like fighting games really suffer because of the genre they're in. Like it's very hard to give awards to fighting games
Hmm.
other than saying that they're the best fighting game,
Yeah.
because like them compared to other games, it's kind of like fighting games are always doing the same things over and over again, versus, I mean, you might play as like different characters, but ultimately it's the same gameplay, versus something like Hollow Knight or Dead Cells or something. You might be doing the same things over and over again, but it changes in subtle ways that makes things really interesting. So, but yes, fighting games just really, they don't get the praise they deserve. So that's why I was saying I was surprised it was your number 2. Not that it's not a good game, but that I was just, I don't know, surprised to see it on so many people's like top 10 lists, just because 90% of the time they're just like, yeah, it's a fighting game.
Yeah. I don't
But
know.
I guess it is Smash Bros.
Yeah, it's just a different world. It's a fighting game, but it's not at the same
It's a
time.
world of
It's a
light.
world of light. Very good. All right, now it's time for our top one, which we, of course, have the same one.
Yeah, I feel like when it comes to this year, and I definitely don't think this is true. I don't think that people should count out games, like smaller games like Return of Obra Dinn, Celeste, Into the Breach, Hollow Knight, stuff like that. People should not count them out and say that, like, of course they wouldn't get number ones, but God of War is just so fucking good, dude.
Yeah.
It's so good. Of course, we both chose God of War. It's just
You can't say no to God of War. It's just such an amazing game, and just changing that character that no one really cared about and turning him into someone who has such a depth of character to him, having his son throughout it. You just felt so drawn to keep playing and continue to see what would happen next, what their relationship would be, always waiting like on the edge of your seat to what they would say next, especially when you see closer into the end of the game, when you're finding Kratos being unable to really give his son any type of actual fatherly love in a you know that kind of supportive way, just because he just can't do it. It's not in him. It's not him to do that, so he has to show it in his own way. It's very interesting. I love the story to it, and the gameplay is just amazing. The actual fighting to it just feels so right.
yeah, it feels so heavy.
Hmm.
Something that I really like about it is I honestly kind of lost my train of thought. I literally started on it, and then I was like, "Shit, what was I gonna say?" I
Uh,
I I I love the game a lot. Just like everybody else, I think that it's very beautiful. I love the story between Kratos and Atreus. Oh, I remember what I was gonna say. The reason I love God of War so much is honestly because it gives me hope for the future. With games like, and I said this before in an article we did for Parallax, where we like kind of talked about what we thought our game of the years would be later on. Which, surprise, mine was the same thing. I said that it gives me hope for the future of all these games that say that they're making like inanimate objects feel like real characters, because in this game I felt like the Leviathan axe was a real character. It was really special and interesting, and I've just never felt that way before about an inanimate object in a game. It felt like, I don't know. It was it's unlike any weapon I've used in a game before. And with games like Days Gone coming out, where people are like, the motorcycle is a character, I'm like, I don't understand how that works, or at least I didn't. And now I have hope for those kind of games because I kind of have that feeling now. I understand. Plus, there's of course everybody talking about the God of War treatment. What series should get the God of War treatment, where they basically take a like, I'm not gonna say a shitty series. God of War I actually really enjoyed, but it was definitely on the decline, and it definitely had its issues, especially because Kratos was a douchey rage monster. He was completely unlikable. He was a huge a-hole, and and they made him into a compelling character that people could legitimately root for and enjoy. It makes me really hopeful for what games can later be. So, yeah, I made the joke in that article that here's hoping that I see a game about Duke Nukem and his son Nuke going on like a fun adventure. And I'm not even joking. If they gave the God of War treatment in air quotes to Duke Nukem, I would lose my shit. That would be hilarious. I would really enjoy to see that.
Good old little nuke. Oh,
Because those games are obscene.
yeah. I guess they would call it mini nuke, not little nuke. That would make more sense.
Ooh, Fallout crossover.
They,
New Duke Nukem exists in the Fallout universe. You heard it here, folks.
ooh,
First,
spoilers.
folks. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. So, I think overall, great year.
Yeah, it's a fantastic year for video games. I think it's a little weird that people are saying 2018 is the best year for video games, because I think every year is a great year for video games as long as it's not a year where we talk about loot boxes all year. So it's pretty much like top 10 years of all time if every year was. I don't know where I was going with that. Yeah.
Oh.
It's weird. Let's just say it's weird. So, talking about years, let's look forward to 2019 and what games or what DLCs for games that we might be excited about. What are you looking forward to in 2019, Josh?
So for me, I think my main ones that I definitely want to see is Y2K, which was featured in the Kind of Funny showcase. It's coming
I
out.
think you mean Yick.
It's definitely Y2K. The new Cuphead DLC, which is coming out later, just because Cuphead was amazing, and I'll play any more of that I can get. Biomutant.
Is that the one where you play as the
The
Chalice?
yeah. You get the
Oh, okay.
Mrs.
Gotcha.
Cuphead.
Yeah, Miss Chalice. I wasn't sure if that had already come out yet and this was a different DLC or not.
No, I'm pretty sure this is the Miss Chalice one. Um,
Gotcha. Okay.
Biomutant, which just looks interesting. It's I really don't know how to describe it other than it kind of reminds me of like a Ratchet and Clank game, but no Clank. Or yeah.
Yeah, you got it.
Yeah. I really don't know much about it. I've just seen a few trailers of it, of you being kind of this mutant that seems to have the ability to kind of transform himself. It seems like, but at the same time, you use weapons like a gun and a sword, and you're jumping through the environment. And it just looks very interesting. I'm just kind of intrigued. I want to see more about it later. And then definitely one of my old time favorites coming back is Super Meat Boy Forever. I love the Meat Boy series. Such a good platformer game, and I can't wait to see, especially since they changed it up with the punching mechanic to it. I want to see how that feels.
Yeah, there's actual combat in it
Yeah.
versus the original Meat Boy, which was all just about platforming skill
Hmm.
and being able to outrun bosses.
So it'll be good.
Yeah, it's a little weird how little we know about Biomutant. I've like been looking forward to anything I can see from it, and they put out a little bit of gameplay since I think it was originally revealed at like E3 2017,
Yeah.
if I remember correctly. But after that, there's like nothing.
Hmm. Yeah, and
It's kind of
I
weird.
know it is kind of weird, and I hope that they definitely up the graphics on it because what has come out looks kind of dated.
Yeah, right. The cinematic trailer
Was
that you see
amazing.
versus the actual gameplay is like,
Yeah, it's
yep, this is a leap.
it's pretty bad, but we'll see. We'll see where it goes.
Similar to the vertical slice we got for Metro Exodus, and then when they put out the gameplay trailer, I was like, no, it's so much worse.
It's a struggle. Well, what about you? What's 2019 looking
So,
for you?
like I said at the top of the show, I've got a lot. So I feel like I should just read them off and then it'll be easier. And then I could just talk about them individually afterwards. Because I've got like 10. So I'm very excited for a bunch of different games. These are mostly, I think they're all indie games. Yeah, they are. I'm excited for Farblade. It's very early in development. I've just been following it on Twitter. It looks very, very good. It's like a mix between Hyper Light Drifter, which is one of my favorite games, and The Legend of Zelda. It looks really cool. I'm not actually sure how to say the name of this game. It's EITR. I think it's either Ether or E-tier. But it's a weird, like, people say, I guess I didn't actually end up doing what I said I was going to do, but whatever.
That's okay.
It's a game following, it's like a Souls-like game, but in Norse mythology. It looks really cool. You play as like a battle maiden. I'm very excited about it. It's like, I think it's a 16-bit art style. It looks really good, and it's like an isometric view. I'm very excited for it. Then we got my friend Pedro. I think it's Blood Bullets and Bananas, but I forgot to put down the the additional bits. It looks really good. It's being published by Devolver Digital, and it is being developed by, I think it's called Dead Toast.
Yeah, Dead Toast
It looks,
Entertainment.
yes, boom, dude. See, that's what got me on the thing where it was like, you don't like anything published by Devolver, you generally never actually know
Hmm.
who the developer is. It's a little weird. But it looks really good. It's like a 2D like shoot 'em up where you play as a sentient banana, I guess. It looks really weird, but it looks so cool at the same time. It's like basically if you ever had the chance to play through a true action movie and feel as cool as possible, this is that game. It looks really awesome. And then, of course, I'm really excited for Tunic, which is like a cute little fox mixed with Legend of Zelda. It looks really awesome. Children of Morta, which was pushed back to 2019. We talked about this on, I believe, not last week's episode, because that was when we just released the interview with Mario from the Heroes Ravage team, which I definitely recommend checking out. But the week beforehand. Then I've got Omno, which looks really, really good. It's made by Studio Inky Fox, which is basically just one guy. It's a 3D platformer where you play as this really cute little, like, kind of puppet guy. He looks a little weird, but it looks really, really cool. I definitely recommend following it. Then for the rest of these, I'm just going to shoot through real quick. I'm very excited for Flynn, Son of Crimson, Infinitesimals, Tarkus, Eagle Island, and Orion. Each one of these is a really interesting little indie game, especially like Tarkus is actually, it's a, I'm going to say Souls-like, but it's early development, so I don't necessarily know. But it's a mobile game, actually, but a 2D platformer on mobile. It looks really, really cool. Infinitesimals, you play as basically this really, really tiny alien who comes to Earth, and it's... I actually have a write-up on it over at Parallax. I definitely recommend checking out. And then Eagle Island is actually a Metroidvania, but entirely about falconry. which is a little weird, but you get like different types of falcons, which allow you to go into different areas. It's really, really interesting. It's got a great 2D pixel art style, and it's of course like a platformer, like the majority of them. And then Orion is very much like a it's very similar to Hyper Light Drifter, which of course, like I said, is one of my favorite games. But you actually play as this really cutesy little like fox-esque character with like this little hood on. It looks really cute. All of these you guys can follow on Twitter. It's very easy to find them. Just kind of look up the things that I said, like their names, and you can easily follow them. I definitely recommend it because these are some great indie games, or at least great looking indie games that definitely deserve a little shout out. So
Nice.
I think that pretty much brings us to the end of our Game of the Year discussion.
Yeah, this is fun. This is a long episode, but it was good.
Yeah, it was definitely a long episode considering we only had one news story.
Yeah, we did kind of shit talk the cow game for quite a while though.
Cause it's ball sack. Do not give money to these fucking people making this stupid ass game.
Whoa, a little too harsh.
Thank you guys so much for listening to this week's episode. Of course, you can follow me at Hyde Legion on Twitter, and you can follow Josh at _Jorsh90.
Yep.
Am I correct?
That is correct.
Yeah, dude. Boom. After 11 to 12 episodes, I've got it. You, of course, could actually listen to this on a bunch of different podcast services. We've got Spotify, Google Play, and Podbean. I'm still dragging my feet on getting it on iTunes and stuff because I have to make an iTunes account, and I really don't want to do that.
It's too much work.
Yeah, right. It's just it's like 2 different pages where I have to fill out information. It's just ridiculous. But of course, if you guys want to stay up to date on all your indie games news, or just want to hear some people talk about indie games, make sure you check us out. We post these every Friday on podcast services and YouTube on Parallax Media's YouTube channel. And of course, if you want to check out some written content, you can always check out Parallax Media. Yeah, we write a bunch of cool stuff. I believe it's parallaxmedia.one.
Correct.
Is the actual web address. So that's about it for us today. I hope you guys have a great day.
Yeah, take care, guys.